In today's episode of Release Radar, we take a look at the Sony PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. Now let's start off with talking about the physical appearance of the console. Now normally it would be white, but I have purchased these sets of black silicone covers. It literally just slips right over the actual frame of the PlayStation because the white just doesn't match anything in my setup. Now I will state that really honestly does just come down to personal preference. The covers that I got off Amazon were only like $20, and now the PlayStation 5 just fits more naturally within my setup. But you don't have to get them if you don't want to. But let's continue talking about the aesthetics. If you see on the front here, there is a light that is orange when the PlayStation 5 is in rest mode, blue when it is powering on, and white when it is on. I think this LED indicator is really cool, and these covers that I got don't completely cover all of the PlayStation 5's original chassis, so you can still see the white, and the LEDs do still bleed off onto the white, which I think is a cool touch. Now let's move on to I/O. In terms of I/O, on the front of the PlayStation 5, you have the power button, a USB-C plug, and a USB 2.0. On the back, you have two USB 3.0s, an Ethernet jack, your HDMI, and your power cable. Now, moving on to the controllers, I will say that I really like the feel of the controllers in your hand. They're extremely comfortable, and as somebody who has bigger hands, they are a huge step up from the cramped feeling of the DualShock 4. These new Dualsense controllers have a very comfortable grip on the back, which is actually made out of tiny little PlayStation logo, X, triangle, square, and O, which I think is pretty cool. And just like every other review you've probably seen about the PlayStation 5, I am going to gloat about how awesome the adaptive triggers on the console are. It's something that I saw reviews of before I actually managed to find my own for a reasonable price. And holding the controller, doing the Astro's Playroom demo, when you get to do the controller demo within Astro's Playroom, it is insane. Like, you literally just can't describe it, because I thought the haptic feedback was a bunch of marketing bumbo jumbo, but it's not. It is something that is actually really cool. Now, the thing is, it might become a gimmick like the touchpad. It just all depends on developer support. I believe Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War has different pressures that you have to squeeze the trigger per gun. So if you shoot something crazy big like a 50 cal, you have to squeeze the trigger harder. Now, while that is cool, you might not want that on during multiplayer because it might give you a slight competitive disadvantage. But all in all, I think the controller is really cool. However, that's enough about the looks and the feel of the console. Let's go ahead and jump into the interface and talk about the console's UI. Now, Microsoft with the Xbox Series X and S went for a kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of deal with their UIs and interfaces for the new generation of consoles. But Sony, it still feels familiar, but they just completely overhauled everything with the PlayStation 5 dashboard. It is snappier. There is a new handful of tray icons that you can customize, have your friends list, have your ability to mute and unmute your microphone and all that kind of stuff. You can have that on the pop-up tray, and the interface is just so much smoother. It feels so much faster, and some games even have their own custom menu music to coincide with the game that your icon's hovering over. Now, some people will think this feature is really cool like me, but other people might not like it because now you can't really have a necessarily uniformed theme like you could have on the PlayStation 4. So that might come down to personal preference, but I am extremely happy with the changes to the interfaces that they have made. However, it's not all great. After installing a couple of games, you will notice something that is a huge problem with the PlayStation 5, and that is storage size. While it does have a 1TB M.2 internal SSD already being used as the default drive in the PlayStation 5, its capacity of usable storage is only roughly 650 give or take gigabytes. That is insanely small by today's standards, with games like the PlayStation 5 edition of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War taking upwards of over 100 gigabytes in file size. And if you want to also play The Last of Us 2 PS5 upgrade, the Spider-Man PS5 upgrade, and Spider-Man Miles Morales, and have Demon Souls on there and Bug Snacks or whatever, you're going to run out of storage fast. Now, Sony recently addressed this, and they now give you the ability to move and transfer games on and off of your PlayStation 5. So if you're somebody with bad internet connection, you can download the game once and then play it and then transfer it to an external storage device and then store it there until you want to play it again and then transfer it back. However, you cannot play PlayStation 5 games off of extended USB storage. However, you can play PlayStation 4 games off of extended USB storage. And because of this, I had to pick myself up a 2TB USB 3.0 external drive because I could not fit all the games that I had that I wanted to have installed and play onto the PlayStation 5's built-in storage. Now, there is an M.2 expansion slot, but as of recording this video, On May 21st, 2021, that is not active yet. So until then, we only have about 650 gigs to play PlayStation 5 games off of. But I will give props where props is due, and it is nice that Sony has given us the ability to move games to and from drives if you just don't have fast internet connection and you don't want to uninstall and reinstall games all the time. And speaking of games, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the PlayStation 5 exclusive titles that I own. So I have Spider-Man Miles Morales, which we will take a look at right here. The game loads insanely fast, and that's actually a big positive for me with the PlayStation 5, are the loading times. So I'm just going to show you an example really quickly of me loading into Spider-Man from the main menu and just show you how fast I can get into the actual game. I mean, those loading times are absolutely incredible. It probably took 5 seconds, if not even less, to load into that game from the main menu. And so the PlayStation 5 actually has a game switcher on it, kind of similar to the Xbox Series X, but it's different in the way that it doesn't leave your game that you were playing before running in the background, so you can't have Spider-Man Miles Morales running at the exact same time as Demon's Souls is running, for example. But with the game switcher, you can actually switch in between the two games fairly quickly, and it cuts off all the game intros and just brings you straight into the menu of the game instead of having to watch the opening cutscenes where it says like Sony Interactive Entertainment or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now.
Keep up the good work, new guy.
I know it's not the most seamless transition ever, but still, the ability to swap in between games like that is very cool in my opinion. It kind of seems like Sony added this after Microsoft revealed their actual game switcher thing on the Xbox, but regardless, the feature, even though it's not exactly as good, is nice to have. However, with the PlayStation 5, while the console is nice, it is not all sunshine and rainbows. There were a few issues that I've had with the system, and I would just like to really quickly explain them to you. So, if you have a Sony TV and a Vizio soundbar paired with the PlayStation 5, I do not know what is causing this problem, but half the time when I turn the PlayStation 5 and my soundbar on, the sound does not come out of the soundbar. I cannot figure out what is the culprit in this. It seems to only happen with the PlayStation 5. It doesn't happen when I'm just watching TV without the system running. So somewhere in there, something's going wrong. I'm sure it's just a minor bug, and I'm sure they'll patch it. But speaking of minor bugs, there's also a bug currently on YouTube on the PlayStation 5. Whenever you're watching YouTube videos, there are pixels on the border of your screen, usually on the right border and the bottom border, that are like greenish, purplish, that just kind of are there for some reason. They're not part of the content you're watching. They're just almost looks like pixel artifacts on your screen on the YouTube app on PlayStation 5. And another problem I have, this has only happened to me 2 times, but the system has completely just dropped dead on me. It has completely died. I don't know what caused it. It didn't give me a system error message. It just shut off. There was no power outage in my house or anything. So those are the main problems I've had with the PlayStation 5. But other than that, it's been pretty smooth sailing. But I do feel like I should talk about the problems I've had because I want to be honest with you guys. But those really are the only issues I've had with my PlayStation 5. I've had the system for about 6 months now, and I've absolutely loved it. While those issues are annoying when they happen, and one of them happens, the sound problem happens quite frequently, so much so that I actually bought a smart TV power strip, so I can just say, turn off my TV, and then it turns off the entire power strip and boots it back up. But other than that, I have had no major issues with the PlayStation 5 that happen regularly, and the system is just so much fun. Everything loads so fast. It looks amazing. As I said, ray tracing on console at 60 FPS is amazing. Some of the games so far that I've gotten PlayStation 5 upgrades, like The Last of Us Part 2, No Man's Sky, and Spider-Man PS4, look and play incredibly well. And while it does suck that a couple of these newer generation games like Horizon Forbidden West are going to be on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, let's just hope Sony doesn't really cut back on the graphical capabilities of their next generation titles like Horizon Forbidden West. Because the PlayStation 4 came out almost 10 years ago. It was a 2013 flagship console. So I really hope they don't cripple the playability of these new titans. But this has been my review of the PlayStation 5. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Try not to buy it at a scalped price. I didn't. I found it at a good deal at a local Best Buy. It's really hard to find, but that's just because it's a really damn good system. Hopefully within the next year or two, this review will become more relevant as more systems start to roll out. But this has just been my honest thoughts and opinions 5 to 6 months into owning my PlayStation 5. And while I don't play it as often as my PC, because I have a PC with an RTX 3090, benchmark coming soon, I know I'm really late to the party, but I still want to make one, I think the PlayStation 5 is a huge step up from the PlayStation 4. The loading time is just one of the things, like, it loads faster on certain games than my PC does. I have Days Gone on the PS5 and Days Gone on my PC, both installed on the internal SSD. It loads faster on the PS5. But this has been a review of the PlayStation 5. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Drop a like if you did. Share it with a friend. And good luck getting your consoles, everybody. Have an awesome day.
Really?